Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Monday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. Got a lot to talk about today. We got JC here in just a second. Second portion, we'll have Steve Russell from WRUF Sports Scene. He'll join us. He called the weekend series against the Miami Hurricanes where the Gators take 2 of 3. If you missed it, Gators losing men's basketball to Kentucky. Some people still think they have a chance. They got to win probably 2 games. We'll see. Softball continues to win. They're 21-1. They start SEC play on Friday against Mississippi State. It's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday series, I believe. I could be wrong on that. So a lot of good stuff going on. Gymnastics continues to do extremely well. I believe now they will. I don't know. Gymnastics, I've said many times, is so confusing to me. I don't know when their postseason. They take like 3 weeks off and then they go into their postseason. So that's kind of what's going on. JC, you're on the Titan MR hotline.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, I watched Florida fight. Kentucky's just so darn good, man. Very athletic team. They'll go deep this year. I just can't see how they wouldn't. And they could win the SEC tournament, no doubt about that. Certainly that Friday session, dude, with Auburn and Kentucky and Tennessee and Arkansas all getting to play will be fun to watch if you love basketball. The Thursday session, I think the Gators are playing the first game at noon. Is that right?
I believe so. A&M.
So they'll be playing a Texas A&M team that's won a few games, but a team that Florida should have beaten, when they played them in College Station. So the season's not over. I'm not ready to cash it in yet. Anything can happen. A lot of bubble teams are going to lose, perhaps, and that might help. I don't know if it will or not. We'll find out a week from Sunday. So, we'll find out this Sunday. So, I love the selection show. It's one of those things it's must-see TV if your team is on a bubble or really good and you're hoping for a positive seeding and a location to play. So, this is that time of year that's really exciting and bubbly for all the basketball folks. But I'll tell you what I also watched was how that Florida baseball team really pitched well against Miami in 2 of those 3 games, and that was encouraging. That was encouraging because, this is what we come to expect with a Kevin O'Sullivan type team. So, overall, I think the weekend was about what we could have hoped for. I just don't think it was realistic to see, think that Florida was going to win that basketball game. But, they fought to the end.
Yeah, they played hard, but, it's one of those deals where the Jimmies and Joes catch up with you. I take nothing away from the way our kids played, but we don't have one guy that could be in the top 10 of the rotation for Kentucky. It's just not possible. Andy asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, how is Gators gymnastics number 2, even though they are undefeated and beat number 1 Oklahoma? You asked the wrong dude. It's all about points and I don't understand it.
Difficulty and routine, how it's scored it's kind of like figure skating. It really is. Don't worry about it. Look, the only thing you got to do with gymnastics is be in the Super 6. If you're in the Super 6, you can win a national championship. As simple as that.
We got a text here on the Titan MR text line.
And they will be in the Super. Was that your Titan MRI text line go off right there?
Yeah, he doesn't give me a name, but he says, why aren't more softball games on TV? They will now that they're getting into league play. You'll see a bunch on TV. And maybe they'll carry more since there's no professional baseball. Maybe they'll carry more college baseball. I don't know if you saw the college baseball. I don't know. I think it was called the Texas Classic or something. It was like LSU and Texas and maybe TCU and one other team. They played where the Astros play. That place was packed.
Yeah, man. College baseball. I think college baseball is so underrated, underserved, underwatched because it's a great time, man. I think it's a great time. I think when the weather's good, college baseball should be more popular. I think they should extend the scholarships to more college baseball players too, if that's possible. I don't know if it is. I don't see why it wouldn't be. There's enough money.
Well, it's stupid. It's stupid that they only have 11.3 scholarships.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they should have 18 minimum, and I think that would cover all starters and backups, and that's what you should have. And my God, I mean, why not 18? They got the money in these schools, dude. These athletic departments got the money with these TV football contracts coming. And so I think it could happen. I just don't know why it doesn't. It's, I guess the baseball lobby is not strong enough. And that's too bad because you're right. The popularity is increasing, dude. And last year was a very popular champion that won it because of the way they're followed. So I don't know why it wouldn't be more popular. Right now, it seems like things are really trending up for baseball. College baseball is even on sports betting apps. I looked at the MGM Grand Bet lot, which you can't do in Florida, of course, but and the Hard Rock Casino betting app, which you can't do in Florida, of course, but you can do in other states, even though in Florida the server is in Tampa, but they'll serve states like New Jersey and Iowa that allow it. They bet on you can wager on college baseball now. So it's getting more attention, but it doesn't have nearly enough, I think.
Dan says on Facebook Live, our gymnastics specialist, he says the finals are now only 4 teams in gymnastics. They went down from 6. So 2 teams are not just sitting around. Come on, JC, get up to date on your gymnastics. And Florida was in the Final Four last year, didn't have a great showing. But yeah. We'll see. And like I said, I don't know when all that starts. I know we were talking to Scott Carter a couple of weeks ago, and he said it's like a 3-week layoff once they go into postseason play, which I guess to let the girls get healed up. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
JC, a lot of news and notes coming out of college football. They're talking about changing the targeting and the fake injury rules. Mm-hmm. They're also talking about changing the clock management.
Yeah.
Like on first incomplete passes, letting the clock still run. This is the dumbest crap I've ever heard.
First downs, too. I think they're talking about first downs.
I hate that. Go back to the way it used to be. If you run out of bounds in college football, the clock stops until the ball is snapped. Now what they do is they go with the NFL rule where you run out of bounds, clock stops till they spot the ball. I don't like that rule for college at all.
Did that change, or is that just being proposed?
They're trying to change it where it's almost like it's a damn running clock the entire game, which is stupid.
It's television making all the influence here, I think. But look, let's face it, college football's got bigger problems to me than this. And I agree these rule changes probably aren't really what I want, but what, we're going to have a 2-minute warning next? So I don't know if that's all about television trying to get these games in tighter windows,
Why would they care? Why would they care? That means they can sell more advertising.
Dude, I'm just telling you what I think. I don't know why. But I don't know if a 4 or a 3.5 hour, 4-hour game is what they want anymore. I don't know. I'm just saying these windows are tight.
And then if you want a short game, quit putting the big boys on TV. Put Army and Air Force. You'll get a 2-hour game. It's your style of play. Don't force teams to. I mean, think about offenses that score a lot of points. You're going to be taking the ball out of playmakers' hands because they're not going to have the ball long enough. I mean, you literally get a couple of first downs, the damn quarter will be over.
So, QB, let me change the subject for a quick minute. Do you think they're going to bring? Do you think Oklahoma and Texas are coming before 25? I know you do, but you thought they were coming in this next season. But after this season, do you think after this next season in 23? Because as it stands, we've got to wait four more years of this without the playoff expansion and without the Oklahoma and Texas.
No, they ain't playing next year, but I think they'll be in here before 2025.
Okay. Because I think once that happens, we might see some other changes that are more interesting to me, like, the playoff format, the postseason, the bowl games, and all this other stuff. To me is more, this whole thing, I think, happened because of the Oklahoma, Texas calling the SEC and wanting entrance. And it hurt some people's feelings. And so because of that, these commissioners can't get on the same page to help the fans out, to give them what they want. And we're stuck with a 14 playoff for another 4 years. And I don't know, maybe when Oklahoma and Texas get in to the league, if they can figure out how to pay off that TV contract, which I know they can, then maybe we'll see more changes. I know the conference will change. The SEC will have to change. They'll go to a pod system of some sort, or they'll go to – I don't think you'll see 8 teams in 2 divisions. I don't think you'll see that, and I do think you'll see 9 games. Those are the kinds of things I'd rather talk about, but I understand that, a running clock is not really best for football.
No, it's not. No. Chris says, or Lauren says, soccer needs a running clock. I agree with that.
Sure.
Dan, give us an update on since he's our gymnastics specialist, the SEC tournament or meet or whatever. The SEC gymnastics meet is 3/19, so March 19th. The national championship is April 14th through the 16th.
Okay.
And the regionals are the March 30th through the 2nd. So you got the SEC tournament March 19th. Then you go to the regionals March 30th through April 2nd. And then the national title, the Final Four, I guess you call it, April 14th, April 16th.
You're really worried about this You're really worried about this gymnastics, aren't you, QB? This is really
but we have tons of people that they love it. They have.
All right. Okay. Well.
It's the second largest attending sport on campus behind football.
Okay.
That's a given. So it draws more than any basketball teams we have. It draws more than softball only because softball has a smaller arena.
Well, they're historically been a very, very good team. I mean, they've won championships. So gymnastics is a big deal here, I guess. So I understand. Okay. I just was wondering why you love it so much. I didn't know you did, but.
Well, as Scott Carter says, they're the best athletes on campus. And I agree with that. The stuff they do is ridiculous. We got another text on the Titan Mark text line. Do you think our softball team is better this year? If yes, why? Hard to say until they start playing in the SEC and softball is just rough. Week in and week out.
It is.
When you say they're better, are they better than last year? I mean, they're a typical Tim Walton team. I mean, they're 21-1. They've won all the games they're supposed to win. They lost a midweek game against Southern Miss where they had a bunch of unearned runs, which they normally take care of the ball. So time will tell. But it's Florida, Alabama, and then everybody else who is very, very good.
Yeah.
And a lot of those teams can win series as well. I want to get to something we talked about here. Where was this?
And we get the SEC tournament here too, folks. Just remember that. SEC
Lauren says Gator women need to get used to life without Kiki. Yeah, she's done. I like Zippy on the point. Her mid-range game allows for good spacing. Yeah, so they're waiting to find out when they play. Did you know this though, JC? You know who your SEC champs are in women's basketball?
Would it be the Kentucky team?
Kentucky comes from 15 down to beat the number 1 team in America, South Carolina.
Yeah, that's and I knew it wasn't South Carolina because that would have been too obvious if you had asked.
Me you obviously didn't know that South Carolina got upset.
I knew that if you were going to ask me that question, the answer was not South Carolina. So I knew that Kentucky had beaten LSU, and I just figured by process of elimination here at 8:15 in the morning that. Yeah, they beat South Carolina. I still just give me South Carolina though for the whole thing. And I'll tell you who else is good. Stanford is good. Connecticut is good, obviously. The women's game is really improved to me. I've come to be a little bit more interested in women's basketball than I have in the past here in the last few years. I think it's really stepped up in its quality. It's not just Connecticut and everyone else anymore, So. We've got good teams, and South Carolina winning the national title was something good for this conference, and it just kind of broadened out the scope of women's basketball away from Storrs, Connecticut, which is a dreary, small, little dumpy town in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a state that's a small, dreary, dumpy state. So good for them, but that's not very interesting. So it's good that South Carolina was able to do that. In my mind, this is how I look at it. So.
Hey, Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville, North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with JC on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. We'll be joined by Steve Russell in the second part of the show, breaking down Gator series
I
win
want to hear.
over Miami.
Will you jump on Steve about these rule changes things, and then ask him also if he, in his expert opinion, believes that we'll see Oklahoma and Texas before 2025. Ask me from that,
All right.
okay?
Okay. All right.
All right. Don't forget, QB, you have a way of forgetting these things sometimes. It goes in and out there. Boom, boom.
Yeah. Andy says the Keontae Johnson tribute was awesome. Calipari also suggested he scored a layup, but we declined. Yeah, I think we declined because I think that would have voided his insurance policy.
Right.
I believe. So, it was great to see him out there. And kudos to Kentucky for allowing that. And even, I mean, look, when you have a player like him, and whether he was a superstar like he was, or if it was just
he was good,
just a regular player,
really
have something like that happen to them, we're just glad he's still around.
Yeah, no doubt. His life is more important than basketball, and it was very nice that they did what they did for that kid. And God bless him. I mean, he'll go on, have a good life. So.
Steve says, Andy says on Facebook Live that Steve loves the new rule changes. So he must listen to Steve's show. Steve's one of those guys that he wants the game over as fast as it can get over.
So he can get on the air and get off the air and get to the house. Yeah. Well, all these media guys, if it was up to the media guys, which I guess now you are, would be a 12 o'clock kickoff every game. So that total misery for the fans. But I get it. I understand. Get it in, get it out. I don't know why. I mean, the whole day is a festival of football. It should be enjoyed that way. But when it's over at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't know. It's bad. All
right, we got a couple of Facebook Lives to get to here. Dan says, JC, you need to go to a gymnastics meet. You'll get into it.
I've been to thousands of them, bro. When I was in college, we went to gymnastics meets every single
look, we're not talking about in the 70s. This wasn't in the 70s. It's different now, my man. It's different.
What are you talking about? It's a balance beam. It's a floor routine. It's bars, and it's
but it's literally sold out. It is sold out. You wouldn't get a ticket, first of all, Jason. Lauren says, Shane, did you see the Bengals are still mad because McPherson stayed out and watched Snoop and Dre? What a joke.
Yep.
My question is the Bengals fans, players, management, whatever? Look, there is no reason for a kicker or punter or long snapper to even be in the locker room at halftime. I mean, seriously. Zero.
Listen, that kid is one of the reasons they got to the Super Bowl. All right. Without him, they may not have even made the damn Super Bowl. Okay. Evan McPherson's a great kicker. He's going to be in the league for a long time in all likelihood. And the Bengals should wrap him up with a big deal to keep him in Cincinnati because that kid can play and kick. And if he kicked in an indoor stadium, just imagine what his numbers might be there as opposed to being outside in the windy confines of Cincinnati. That guy's a baller. He's a clutch player, and man, again, they don't make it to the Super Bowl without him. I think we all know that. So I think it's all a bunch of noise. I really do.
The Combine, JC, I know you sit around and watch the NFL Network, the Combine.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that Jordan Davis from Georgia, I don't know if I've ever seen
4.78 something, whatever. Was that what he ran?
I think so. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God. I mean, good for him picking him up and putting him down like that. He's lost weight. I know that he's lost some weight, but still he's a monster. And to be able to run that fast, my God, QB, he could beat you in a race.
Well, yeah, he could right now. I mean, Dameon Pierce only ran like a 4.6 something. Think about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I was flabbergasted to see Jordan Davis run that. That's amazing to me.
We got another text on the Titan Mark text line, and it's from our anonymous texter. He says, any news on the quarterback transfer Miller from Ohio State? Hadn't heard much about. We'll know more once they start spring ball March 15th.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, though. I do know this, that Billy Napier wants a very smart, intelligent guy that knows what everybody does on offense, knows what everybody's supposed to be doing on defense. That's the kind of quarterback he wants. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen there. A lot will be decided. I don't think it'll be decided in the spring, but over the summer. But I'm telling you, it's going to take 3 years for him to get the roster the way he wants it. And year 3 will be the way he'll have it running smoothly then. So Dan calls the combine the underwear Olympics. That is very true. Very true. But that big fella can run. All right, JC, let's get to golf.
Okay.
I want to read you these tweets. I screenshot them last night.
You were close again. You are so close again.
I was very close to my guy.
What is it with you and your guys shooting 74s on Sunday?
We're like the Buffalo Bills.
2 weeks in a row, you got a 74.
How about this? Scotty Scheffler won more money yesterday than Arnold Palmer did in his entire career on the PGA Tour.
That's a great one. That is a great one. That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, my God.
Okay, so Roy McIlroy did his presser after the round.
Yeah.
He was not very happy with the way Bay Hill was set up. He thinks changes need to be made if you want the best players coming. So here's some of the things he said. They asked him, do you think some of the guys would think twice whether to play in this tournament if it stays like this? And Roy quoted, yeah, they need to do something about it. There's a lot of guys that sort of stay away this week to get ready for next week. Next week's becomes such a big event at $20 million purse. The 4 majors are sacred in this game, but it's very close to being among them with the way it's going. As I said, I just need a day off tomorrow to forget about what's happened this week and then just sort of focus on next week. Basically, Roy was saying, so this other person asked him, what should they do at Bay Hill? He said, I just think it's a golf course setup and it's an issue. And to make it a little less penal when you make a mistake or when you miss. I don't mind golf courses being penal when you miss, but it's not rewarding good shots. I think that's where it crosses the line.
All right. Well,
come on, dude.
You know, he shot 76 both days. And if you look at the final round, most of these guys all were in the low to mid 70s. It was very hard. Tyrell Hatton shot a 69 and finished in second. And it was hard. And I don't think there should be anything wrong with that because every week, what do we watch, QB? We watch scores go from 15 under to 21 under every stinking week on the tour. Every week. I'm all for. I think it needs to be like that every week. Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine? I don't even know how to equate it to the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball. Okay, so you face Scherzer, Kershaw. Okay, so we faced 2 top pitchers in the league. So in game 3, you have to throw a single A pitcher at us. I mean, come on. I think it's ridiculous.
I think it's weak. I think he's weak at times. Maybe I will never pick him again. He needs to look in the mirror as why he shot those 76s. And so what? I mean, the scores were still legitimate. I mean, the winning score QB was what, 600, 500. Okay.
That was the most fun I've watched a golf tournament in so long because every shot
mattered.
I mean, the rough was over 4 inches long. I wish they would do that at Augusta. Augusta refuses to grow the rough. If they would grow the rough there, nobody would be shooting 20 under par.
Right. No, it's true. And that's why, that's it. It's all really about how they grow the rough. That's 100% because I've seen this tournament easier than where it played yesterday. And whether they want to call it fair or not, dude, nothing's supposed to be fair. Okay. I think there's a fine line between fair and difficult. This was a fair course that was difficult. It wasn't an unfair course that was unplayable. That's not what we have here. That was Shinnecock at the U.S. Open when, Retief Goosen won it back 20 years ago and nobody was even close to even par. Maybe that was a little extreme. But this course, you shoot 500 to win a tournament, that is what I think we should come to expect, not 21 under, watching guys just get home in 2 on every par 5 because, they can hit the ball 350 yards.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Almost every one of the par 5s, they're hitting 8 and 9 irons into it. So tell me that ain't fair.
Right. So what defense does the course have? Oh, well, the greens are fast. These guys can putt on tile. Okay. It doesn't matter, but I don't want to hear about fast greens. That doesn't matter in the PGA Tour. What matters is where they land the ball and what kind of grass and lie they have. And that's true. You cannot have the rough be called the rough if it's just another form of the fairway. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, so all our, like, we don't have probably a lot of people that watch golf. Like Lauren's asking here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. I'm gonna let JC answer this. He wants to know, what does greens and regulation mean? He's always wondered. So explain that real quick.
Okay, Lauren, that's means that if you have a par 3 and you hit the ball on the green in one shot, you are on the green in regulation because you're expected to 2-putt. And so consider every hole a 2-putt scenario. So on a par 5, if you get there in 2 or 3, then you can 2-putt for par. If you get there in 3, that's called a green in regulation. You basically get to the green with 2 putts to go. So on a par 4, that obviously means that you get on the green in 2 shots. And in some cases, these guys are getting there in 1 shot with how short some of these par 4s are. But basically, it's with 2 putts to go to make par on the green in regulation. That's what that means. Did I explain that right?
Yeah, you kind of butchered it a little bit. You started out pretty good with it, and then it got worse. So yeah, you're exactly right. So if it's a par 3, if you hit the green in your first shot, that's a green in regulation. If it's a par 4 and you hit the green in your second shot,
that's great.
It's a green in regulation. Par 5, you hit the green in 2 or 3. You're in your second shot or your third shot, you hit a green in regulation.
It leaves you with 2 putts to make a par. That's what the idea is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got bothered by that because I knew there was going to be some bitching once the tournament was over.
Yeah, but they're all patty cake.
It just drives me insane when these guys bitch and complain when stuff is difficult. It's supposed to be difficult.
I'm telling you, Q, you're right. I mean, this is 100%. I can't stand watching these tournaments and the majors go to 20 under par, 18 under par, 17 under par. That's not a major. That's called a weekend stop. And that's not what it should be on the PGA Tour. It's the best tour in the world, dude. The best players in the world play on the best tour. Don't make it patty cake golf, pitch and putt stuff.
And I wish Sawgrass would grow the rough there because what did Justin Thomas shoot last year to win it? Do you remember?
Oh, it was low. It was really low.
Like 18, 19 under or something like that?
It was so low. And it's like, my God, if they don't get any weather issues and it's clear out there, the greens don't bother these guys, man. Fast greens don't matter to them. It's about slope and where you land the ball off the box and the rough. That's what bothers these guys. Greens are greens. These guys are the best putters in the world. Fast greens that's no big deal. I don't think it is anyway. I just think the bigger deal is, like we've been talking about, cutting the rough, too low makes it too easy. You should have to have some sort of difficulty if your shot is offline. That's the idea, right? I mean, the golf course has to have some effects.
Yeah, if you don't hit it in the fairway and you hit it in the outside the fairway, rough, whatever you want to call it, you should pay a penalty. And suck it up, Lord. That's your guy that's bitching and complaining. Your guy that you picked to win.
Well, believe me, he won't be picked anymore.
Andy says he watched yesterday for Billy Horse. Yeah, look, Billy don't give a damn. Right. He could go out in a cow pasture.
He was right.
And he's going to battle and try to win. He ain't going to bitch or complain. And that's what I love about Billy Horse.
Tied for second, 1 stroke back, and he shot a 75, and the winner shot a 72. There, Scheffler. Right now.
Before we let you go, we got to get to Steve Russell.
Okay.
Daniel says TPC rough is not easy. Have you played it? Yeah, I've played it multiple times. There is no rough at TPC. I mean, it may be like 1.5 inches or 2 inches. It's not 5 inches deep. That's rough. When it's just a little bit different.
If you can see more than half the ball sitting up, forget it.
That's not rough. Okay, before we let you go, I want to get your thoughts. I don't know if you got to see, but I'd be damned if the North Carolina Tar Heels didn't realize what was supposed to happen.
I know. They didn't care about what the great plans were for the party. And, good for Hubert Davis. I think that game got them in, QB. They're third in the conference. They won 20 games. That's good enough. They punched their ticket. 3 teams at least from the ACC now. Yeah.
Yeah, so Coach K was not very happy at all.
Well, they lost.
I don't know if you saw it, but I was watching it. You know, they got this whole presentation. He walks up to the mic and he says, "This is not part of the show, but I apologize. I am embarrassed at the way we played." And he basically 3 or 4 times during that whole ceremony, he called out his team over there about not playing well.
Yeah.
So, but here's what I do expect. I'm not a big Duke fan.
Well played. Yeah.
I expect them to play really hard the rest of the year because the way he called them out during that deal.
I agree. I mean, this is his swan song. They're going to get to the Sweet 16, and then from there we'll see. But I'm with you. I think Duke is look. They had a bad second half, and that's just the way it goes. Maybe they got caught up in all the riffraff, but Hubert Davis and the Tar Heels spread. That was a team that lost by 20 points on their home court to Duke, and they went straight into Durham and took care of business. So that punched your ticket. There's no doubt.
All right, JC, we got to run. We got to get to Steve Russell. Talk a little.
Remember to ask him those questions I asked you, please.
What were they again?
I knew it. Just ask him when he thinks A&M and Texas and Oklahoma are realistically going to try to get into this league, and if he thinks that that will promote perhaps a quicker.
You don't even remember what you asked.
No, a quicker move to the playoff. I'm just more interested in the playoff and Texas and Oklahoma getting in here. And, it's not going to be next year, but how can they play another 3 more years after this year in the Big 12? I just can't see that.
Yeah. All right. That's JC Joyce on the Titan More Hotline. I'm going to take a quick timeout, come back, talk a little Gator baseball with Steve Russell.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Les Macarons, Bass Pro Shops, International Diamond Center, Prime and Pro, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Now serving brunch on Saturday and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. Going to head to the Titan More Hotline now, and we're joined by the Dean of Sports Talk Radio from WRUF Sports Scene, Steve Russell. Good morning. Steve, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Baseball's in full swing now, and I wanted to bring you on. I got a bunch of stuff I want to ask you, but first let's start with the series down in Miami. This is a heated rivalry. It seems like it's always chippy. Nobody likes one another. Gators lose game 1, but find a way to win the series.
Yeah, that was important. It was a sellout before the series started. After they won the first game, their fans were primed for more, but didn't get it. And I thought that was really important for Florida because they lost game 1 with Barco pitching, and their guy Palmquist was really good. So to start Saturday, I thought for Brandon Sproat was really important, and he was lights out. I mean, if Sproat pitches like that, that's going to really help Florida going forward because he was dominant. Now, Timmy Manning yesterday wasn't great. He was better than what he was, but I think he's still a question mark. If there's any question mark on the rotation, I think it'd be him. But certainly now you're looking at Barco Friday, Sproat Saturday, and the bullpen has been great. two young kids, Ficarota and Blake Purnell, have been really, really good. Their team ERA is like 2.5. And they've not played a great schedule. Let's be honest. The two teams they've played that are decent, Liberty and Miami, they're 3-3. So, can they get better? Yes. But this is still a young team that's growing, and I like where they are now.
How do you like, I had Sully on, as you probably did on your show before the season kicked off. He really liked his lineup at the plate. And obviously I know it was FAMU and Georgia State. They had a million hits. And I know they hit the ball pretty well at times down in Miami. But how do you like, being a broadcaster, how do you like this lineup at the plate?
I do like it. The thing I think fans have to get used to now, Shane, is it's trickled down to the college level. There's going to be a lot of strikeouts. That's just how it is. Pitching is really dominant now. So you're going to have to live with, 10 strikeouts, 11 strikeouts. So that means 3 or 4 innings, you don't even put the ball in play. So now your other innings, you better be productive. But Halter has been outstanding as a leadoff guy. Thompson in the 3-hole is hitting almost 400. Ryapel, the transfer, has done a really nice job at the plate. The guy that's most surprising to me is Wyatt Langford, just because last year he couldn't get in the lineup, and he started the year, I think, hitting 8th. Now he's hitting 4th, and he's doing a really nice job. So there's some length to the lineup, and there's some other guys. Rivera's off to kind of a slow start, and a couple of other guys, but overall they're hitting 300, but it's top heavy. So you'd like to get a little more length in the lineup. But once again, I think it's a work in progress and getting better.
We got a couple of texts here on the Titan MR text line. This comes from Joe. He says that he heard that there's going to be a new baseball show with you and Cardozo called On Deck, starting on Wednesdays on WRUF. Can you tell us about that? Yeah,
that was actually my idea because we do our thing, Shane, in football, and Mark Wise is so kind to do something in basketball. We've never done something in baseball. And I just kind of said, why don't we do something like that? So we're going to try it and see how it does. And, Jeff and I worked together for so long. So looking forward to having him. And, we're going to talk not just the SEC, but, what's going around college baseball, maybe some pro baseball, if they ever play. So, it'll be fun.
See, we had somebody on Facebook Live mention something earlier. Have they ever talked about having playing when we play down in Miami, the Florida-Miami series being played at the Miami Marlins ballpark? Because I don't know, did you see the crowd? I believe it was Texas hosting LSU. Was it LSU? I believe it was. I don't know, but they played where the Houston Astros played. Did you see any of that? I mean, it was a packed house. And has there ever been any talk about doing that?
Not that I know of. And just from what I would gather with Miami, I don't know if they would want to do that. Their ballpark, Shane, is really old, but it packs a lot of people in there. And I think they see that as sort of a, home field advantage. So like when Florida plays Florida State, they play at the Jacksonville minor league ballpark. And that's great. It's packed, but it's not really an advantage for one team. It's great to have fans there, but I don't know that it's an advantage. I think they would feel they'd lose their home field advantage if it was in a big place like that.
So moving forward, I think we got another week or two until we get into SEC play. And obviously we know the grind of the conference. It's a bloodbath every weekend. What does this team have to do? And obviously it's probably self-explanatory. Just, we got to pitch the ball well. It's going to be important for Barco to be at top of his game when we get into SEC play, right?
It is. I remember, Shane, in 2017, the year when Florida won the championship, going to Auburn, first series of the year, and getting swept. I can remember Sully talking to the starting pitcher that day because he had not been a Friday guy. And he just said, it was Alex Faedo. And he said, in essence, you know what? You've been coasting on the other guys who pitched before you. It's your turn. You've got to be the tone setter. You've got to be the guy on Friday nights. And from that point on, he was. And that's why I think Hunter Barco is really important. This league has so many good pitchers and so many good teams. Your Friday guy has got to be the one to set the tone. I think Barco can do that. I mean, he wasn't great against Miami. I mean, his ERA went up to like 265. But when he's right, he's difficult to beat. And again, I think if you get Brandon Sproat, he was throwing 96, 97 the other day and throwing strikes and just, again, really dominant. So that Friday guy in the SEC, Shane, is really important. I think Barco can do that.
When you look at this team, and I know it's still early, but it just seemed like last year, I don't know what it was. If you looked in the dugout, there wasn't a whole lot of, I don't say rah-rah, but it was, I don't know. Baseball, it just seems like when you watch the Mississippi States of the world and some of these other teams, they're having so much fun and it kind of translates to the field. Do you see a difference in the personality of this baseball team compared to last year?
Funny you asked that. I get asked all the time what happened last year. I mean, Florida had a down year, hosting a regional, but there were a lot of problems with that team, Shane, which I won't go into. On the field, off the field, it just, for the talent that was on that team, it just didn't mesh for whatever the reason. Earlier this year, Sully actually had his staff put together highlights of past teams that either went to Omaha or showed emotion. And remember, this is a young team. So they're just kind of, some of these guys are freshmen who've never experienced this before. So they actually had to show them, hey, have a little moxie here. Show emotion. You strike somebody out, pump your fist. It's okay to do that. You're not showing up the other team. And so I think that's carried over a little bit with this group now. There's a little more of that. Yesterday, a lot of arm pumping, and that's the way it should be. Sproat did that when he went off the one time, just, all going crazy. That's okay. You're not showing up the other team. You're not doing it to them. So I think this young group is starting to learn that, and that's going to pay dividends, I think.
Good deal. Ruzoger State Farm office is a team dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Offer essential needs, auto insurance, home insurance, life and health insurance, and more. Just ask. Visit ograinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. A few more minutes with Steve Russell here. You can listen to Steve Monday through Friday from noon to 2 on WRUF. John has a Facebook Live brought to you by Melton Law. Steve, how do you see the pitching rotation moving forward? We know Barco's the ace, but who is after him?
If I had to guess, now this weekend they'll play Seton Hall and then open up the SEC at Alabama. I think you're going to see what you saw this past week. I think you're going to see Barco, Sproat, and Timmy Manning. The questionable one at this point would be Timmy Manning because he's had some control issues and he was okay yesterday, but not great. But the bullpen, was really lights out and helped Florida win. So I think this weekend it'll be the same. But if Timmy Manning struggles again, you might see a change on Sunday. That's just me talking, not Sully. But I think that's what you're going to see.
We got a question here from YouTube, from Charles. He says, Steve, I want to ask you about the atmosphere at the baseball games at Miami and its impact on the umpiring.
I don't think it had any impact. I mean, look, umpires are used to that. They go to venues all over the place, where the crowds are loud and they're good. I've never, ever understood how umpires have the strike zones that they have or don't have, especially vertically. It's very clear in the rule book what a strike is.
It's now, like right here, letter high, which they never call that as a strike anymore.
No, very rarely above the belt do they call a strike, which is ridiculous to me. And when they do, fans kind of go, whoa, well, it's supposed to be a strike. Yeah. This isn't called a lot. And yesterday, the umpire yesterday had a very tight zone. Now, I can tell you as a pitcher, okay, I have to adjust to that. And if that's what his zone is, then as a pitcher, I have to adjust to that. And the next thing you ask for is consistency. If you're going to call certain things certain ways, fine, be consistent with it, and then you adjust. So I think for the most part, the umpiring this year has been pretty good. I mean, have there been a couple times when there's been a missed call, but they're human. They're going to miss some. But I get what he's asking because the strike zones are different for some umpires, but you better adjust.
Yeah. Andy asked here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Law, says, Steve, love your work on WRUF. Tell Shane why you like the new NCAA rules on the play clock being considered the changes.
In football?
Yeah. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, because it's going to shorten the game, and us offensive guys ain't going to be able to have the ball that often.
Well, you're talking from a football standpoint, and I understand that.
You're talking, and you probably want it to be over soon so you can get back and do your show.
You know what it is? If the complaint, Shane, is, and among many, right, games are too long, all of that, it's affecting attendance, then I think that's why this is being talked about. I don't necessarily agree with it, but if that's what is happening, in the college football world, how about not having 25-minute commercial breaks?
That's the key.
But you have to pay the bill. See, that's the other thing. I mean, you're right. So I don't mind a little bit more of a speed up, but you're correct. Offenses will not have the ball as much. I'm with you.
Let's see real quick. John asked, Steve, how does Pogue and Pierce Capola fit into the rotation / bullpen when they get back from their injuries?
To be determined. Capola has back issues. Pogue and Tyler Nesbitt, who were really going to be counted on last year, got hurt. Pogue is probably the closer of the two. He might get a chance to pitch an inning this week. I know he was going to pitch, in some inter squads. And from what I'm told, Nesbitt was a couple of weeks behind him. But let's be realistic. It's, middle of March here almost. So how effective are they going to be? How much use will they be as the season rolls along? We'll have to find out. But if you add those two arms, that's going to, and if they're good, if they've recovered, that's going to really help them.
Yeah. Back to football. JC wanted me to ask you, there's still reports that when OU and Texas join the conference, it's supposed to be in 2025. Do you still think it's going to be 2025, or do you think they're going to come in earlier?
I think they want to come in earlier. Now, can they? Will they? What's the monetary deal?
Well, I don't think that would be a problem for those two schools. If they really wanted to join in 2 years, they could pay $70 or $80 million easily.
I'm with you, but then why wouldn't they do it now? That's what if you can afford it, which I agree that they can just say, heck with it, I'm going to go. I don't know if they want to leave the league in a bad way. I don't think it's going to matter 10 years from now. Nobody will remember this. But, living in the moment, do they want to, be seen as rogues and leaving the league? I'm not sure the leadership there does, but I wouldn't be shocked if they left early because, to your point, they can afford it.
Spring football, we had somebody on the Titan MR text line says, what are you looking for out of spring football, Steve?
That's such a mixed bag, Shane. I guess I want to see how Billy Napier and his staff conduct practice. I want to see, what the tempo is, what they do, how they do it, what they expect from the players. I mean, every coaching staff's a little different, when it comes to that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm going to know, what their install is and, what they're doing. But, how are they going to – right now, everybody I've talked to, and I'm sure you have too, that's on this team, has really talked about Napier in a very positive way and his staff in a positive way. They care about us. They're giving us, some things we have to do. It's an orderly thing, which I guess, wasn't the case with the previous group. So I think that's a positive going in. I just want to see how he handles practice, what's expected of the kids with them, and then go forward.
He's going to let the media watch some practice too, right?
Yes, selected portions of it, which when I saw that, I almost dropped my teeth because that hasn't happened in a long time. But, again, I think he understands, that too. But the thing about him, I think everybody's noticed it from even afar. At least now there's a level playing field. Shane, you've often talked about the facility, and that will put at least Florida on even footing. But now with all the analysts he's hired, he was given carte blanche by Scott Strickland to go out And hey, it's your deal. You go hire who you think you need. Now, with that, better win. Okay. And I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I think you're going to see a change in the attitude of this team. I think you're going to see a change in how they do their business, and you hope it translates to wins and losses.
Yeah, I've said many times he won't have his roster the way he wants it until year 3.
Correct. I'm totally with you there.
Yeah. Steve, great stuff as always. Everybody can listen to Steve weekdays on the apps, the WRU apps live, 12 to noon. But one more time, when's the baseball show with you and Cardozo kicking off?
I believe it's going to be either next week or the week after on Wednesdays, because Mark this week cannot do our normal Monday because he's doing a postseason tournament. So he's going to do this Wednesday. I think it's the Wednesday after that.
All right. Good stuff as always, Steve. We appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Big guy. Thank you.
That's Steve Russell. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take our final time out, come back, and wrap up this Monday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okito America, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, a number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. South State Bank, we understand that small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking for member FDIC. I want to thank JC and Steve Russell join us on the Titan More Hotline. This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp's now hiring team members of all levels of experience. Great culture and benefits and opportunity to grow. $1,000 signing bonus. Give them a call, 352-376-2366, especially with it getting hot, folks. Get your AC checked out. This Day in Sports. Announces his retirement from the Denver Broncos and the National Football League. So it's been 6 years since Peyton retired. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Big week. We got TPC this weekend. You got conference tournaments. A lot of them, we've already had a few teams punch their tickets. Murray State, Longwood, and Loyola Chicago's back. Sister Jean, her crew. Those teams have punched their tickets, and more will punch their tickets tonight and the next few days. So great time of the year. Kick back and enjoy it. But I hope you enjoyed our program today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Same place, same time. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you then.